Video 4, we're looking at rate versus yield, because you may already have realised this, but some of the things we just said would increase the yield, how much product we've got, would actually slow down the rate of reaction. And we've said for an industrial chemistry process we want both. So just let's review rate of reaction. Remember that a reaction will occur when reactant particles collide, correct orientation, so the correct way round, with enough energy. So anything that will increase how much energy they've got, or would increase how frequently they collide, how often they bang into each other, will increase the rate of reaction for all reactions. So that would be an increase in temperature, surface area, concentration, pressure, or it could be adding a catalyst. But some of those conditions might affect the yield. Okay? So adding a reactant or adding a product or removing a product will always increase your yield. But for some other factors, the effect that it has depends on what reaction you're looking at. So temperature, pressure, dilution, sometimes those things will increase the yield, sometimes they would decrease it. And we've got to think about what's going on to think about will that affect the rate as well. Okay? Because remember, what we're looking for is to get as much of the product as possible, but also as quickly as possible. Which means sometimes we've got to compromise. So as an example, if we think of temperature, and the same principle could be applied for pressure, and the same principle could be applied for dilution, because of course if you dilute something, you're reducing the concentration. And the same principle, but let's look at a temperature example. Increasing temperature will always increase rate. Doesn't matter what reaction it is. So for a fast rate, you always want as high a temperature as possible. However, if your reaction is an exothermic one that gives out heat, if you heat up that, it will go, I don't like that, and try and go backwards. Or will go backwards, in fact. Okay? And it will give you a lower yield. So here's one where you have to compromise. Okay? For a high rate, you might want a temperature of about 400 degrees. For a high yield, you might want a temperature of about 20 degrees. Okay? You'd go somewhere in the middle. You'd end up with a moderate temperature of 1 to 200 degrees because you're meeting in the middle and compromising.